Walk into a house built 100 years ago, a real one, and you'll notice something you can't quite name at first. There are no bugs, not fewer bugs. None. No line of ants along the baseboard, no silverfish in the bathroom at night, no roaches behind the stove. And here's the strange part. That house has no screens on half its windows. The doors don't seal. That house should be crawling. It isn't. And the people who built it didn't own a single can of spray. So what did they know that we forgot? Because somewhere along the way, the answer got buried. Not in some dramatic conspiracy, but in something quieter and honestly more effective. The pest control industry didn't hide these methods. Think about it. There is no profit in a $1 bag of powder that lasts a season. There's enormous profit in a monthly service contract and a chemical you have to reapply forever. So the old methods didn't get banned. They got forgotten, replaced, made to feel primitive. But they still work exactly as well as they did in 1920. And they all share one thing in common. They live in the doorway. Here's what almost nobody understands about insects. They don't wander into your home at random. They follow edges. A bug hugs the line where the floor meets the wall, where the frame meets the threshold. That crack under your door isn't just a gap, it's a highway. And every insect on your property knows exactly where it is, which means you don't need to treat your whole house. You never did. You need to treat the line they cross, the threshold. The one place every single insect has to pass to get inside. Old builders understood this in their hands, even if they couldn't explain the chemistry. They didn't spray the room. They sealed the door. And they did it with 4 things, all of which still sit on a hardware store shelf right now. The first is a soft white powder called diatomaceous earth. Run it between your fingers and it feels like flour, harmless. You could hold a handful and feel nothing. But under a microscope, that flour is made of millions of fossilized shells, each one edged like broken glass. To an insect, a field of razors. Here's why it beats any spray you can buy. A chemical poison the bug has to eat. This doesn't. An insect simply walks across it. The powder scores through the waxy coating that holds their moisture in, and within hours, they dry out completely. There's nothing to build immunity to. You can't evolve resistance to being cut open. That's why it worked a century ago and works identically today. A thin line of it along the threshold, under the door, in the corner where the frame meets the floor. Bugs cross it once. They don't cross it twice. One bag costs about $1 worth per doorway, and it doesn't expire. Buy the food-grade kind. Never the pool filter kind. That version is heat-treated and won't do the same job. Food grade. That's the whole secret. The second sat under your grandmother's sink the whole time. Borax. For ants and roaches, borax does something a spray can never do. A spray kills the one insect you see and warns the rest. Borax kills the ones you'll never see. Mix a pinch with a little sugar. The sugar is the invitation. The borax is what they carry home. The worker eats it, walks it back into the wall, back into the colony you can't reach, and it takes the nest down from the inside. A can of it is a couple of dollars and lasts years. The exterminator standing in your kitchen already knows this. You're killing the source. The third one, old builders put right into the house itself. Copper. Slugs and snails will not cross a strip of copper. It's not folklore. The reaction between their body and the metal gives them something like a small static shock. They reach the line and turn back. Every time. Look closely at an old doorway, and you'll sometimes find a thin copper strip set right into the sill. People assumed it was decoration. It never was. It was a wall the size of a coin's edge, doing a job for 100 years without being touched. A short length of copper tape costs almost nothing and never wears out. Press it across the base of the door. That's it. It simply sits there, and it doesn't stop working. And the fourth is the one they could smell before they understood it. Certain plant oils read as poison to an insect's senses. Peppermint. Cedar. To you, it's clean and sharp. To an ant, it scrambles the scent trail it uses to navigate. And a bug that can't read its own trail simply doesn't come. This is why old pantries were lined with cedar. Why a sprig of mint sat on the windowsill. It wasn't for the smell. It was a border they couldn't see past. A few drops of peppermint oil on a cotton pad tucked into the corner of the doorway. A strip of cedar along the frame. It fades in about a week, so it's the one thing here you refresh. But it costs pennies to do it. Now here's where it becomes something bigger than 4 separate tricks. The old houses didn't pick one. They layered them. Copper on the sill for the crawlers that climb. Powder in the crack for the ones that walk. borax paste for the colony you can't see, oil at the corners for the ones that follow scent. 4 cheap things in one doorway, covering every way an insect can approach. Not a poison you spray and respray. A barrier that just stays there and does the work while you forget it exists. That's why those 100-year-old houses are silent. Not because they were sealed tight. They weren't. Because every threshold was a wall built out of things that cost almost nothing. And this is the part worth sitting with. None of this was lost because it stopped working. It works now, tonight, in your house, exactly as it did in theirs. It was lost because it can't be sold to you twice. There's no subscription in a dollar bag of powder. No return visit in a strip of copper that lasts a lifetime. The methods didn't fail. They just stopped being profitable, and profit decides what you remember. The people who built those old houses weren't smarter than us. They just couldn't afford to solve the same problem every single month, so they solved it once, at the door, and moved on. So the next time you walk into an old house and feel that strange stillness, no bugs, no spray, no screens, you'll know it wasn't luck. It was 4 cheap things in a doorway, and one idea we let ourselves forget. You don't need the truck in the driveway. You don't need the monthly contract. You need the line they cross. But before you close that door, there's one thing almost nobody stops to ask. If these 4 things are this cheap, this simple, and this effective, why has no one told you? You've lived in homes your whole life. You've called for help when the ants came, when the roaches showed up behind the stove, when something moved in the walls at night. And in all those years, through all those visits, not one person standing in your kitchen ever mentioned a dollar bag of powder. Not once. That silence isn't an accident. Think about who you were talking to. A man whose living depends on coming back. A company whose entire model is the return visit, the refill, the next appointment already booked. You were never going to hear about the thing that ends the problem for good, from the person who profits every time it comes back. And here's what makes it worse. It's not that they're lying to you. They don't have to. They simply never bring it up. The powder stays on the shelf. The copper stays in the hardware aisle. And the knowledge that used to live in every household just quietly stops being passed on until an entire generation grows up believing the only answer is the number on the side of a truck. That's the real trick. Not a chemical. Not a secret formula. Just silence, repeated long enough that it starts to feel like the truth. So when you walk to that threshold tonight and look down at the line where the floor meets the door, understand what you're actually looking at. You're looking at the one place they never wanted you to think about, the cheapest fix in the whole house, the wall that costs almost nothing and lasts a lifetime. And the moment you build it, you stop being a customer. That's what this was always about. 1 line of powder, 1 strip of copper, 1 doorway, and 100 years of silence that was never yours to keep. They spent decades hoping you'd never look down. Tonight, you did.